Hello from me, Alison Mitchell. Just a warning before we start today's show. The chat coming up with Amelia Kerr does discuss mental health and suicide. For any help and support, do go to the BBC's Action Line.
From the BBC World Service, in association with ABC and All India Radio, this is Stumped.
Hello and welcome to Stumped, where it's our 400th episode. We're your intercontinental hit of news, features and debate from the quirky world of cricket. And I'm Alison Mitchell in London. If you're watching on YouTube, surrounded by balloons to give a bit of a celebratory feel to this show. We're going to talk more about our memories of Stumped in the course of the programme. I want to start just by mentioning no official comments still from the ICC on the situation of the Afghanistan women, which we've been tracking here on Stumped. In the meantime, it's pretty grey outside, and I've been playing my guitars a little bit more this week, as well as undertaking quite a bit more work with the charity I'm involved in. But it's nice to be at home in London, but yeah, surrounded by these balloons to remind everyone of our 400th show.
Jim Maxwell for the ABC in Sydney, and it's really been about, on the one hand, the WPL. Meg Lanning didn't quite make it into the winning team, but the big news really in the last week for me, with the selection of the women's Ashes squad, Phoebe Litchfield. Phoebe Litchfield, have you heard of her? Well, you will be hearing of her. She's one of the finest young players we've got, and she can bat. So look out for her in England. She's in the Ashes squad.
Yeah, that's going to be a while from now, but just in a couple of days, we'll start off the, 16th edition of the IPL. Looking forward to that. But some wonderful memories collected watching the WPL just a short while back. And of course, being at the final was so special. Hello, this is Charu Sharma for All India Radio today from a little home in the Himalayas that I have. Wonderful weather. And of course, seeing the big mountains just ahead of me is just such a great sight. A nice little break before we get back into more cricketing action. But, 399 down. Am I looking forward to 400? Absolutely.
Well, it starts right here, Charu, and we are going to start with the Women's Premier League. You mentioned it in Mumbai, and the climax of that tournament will be a moment that women's cricket will never forget. History was made last Sunday when Mumbai Indians were crowned winners of the first ever WPL in front of a sellout crowd. They beat Delhi Capitals by 7 wickets, meaning a maiden title for the hometown favourites, coached by former England captain Charlotte Edwards and captained by India star Harmanpreet Kaur. It did go down to the final over. Natalie Sciver-Brunt was the joint most expensive overseas player bought at the auction. She hit the winning runs, living up to her price tag with a stunning unbeaten 60. Now, we know that cricket can be a sport of highs and lows, and one of the victorious players, New Zealand all-rounder Amelia Kerr, is certainly familiar with the roller coaster of sport and life. In 2021, Kerr, who's now 22, partnered with a charity to help promote positive attitudinal societal change around mental health in New Zealand. It followed her own struggles with mental health when she needed 7 months away from the game to recover. I'm pleased to say that Mealy joins us on Stumped, fresh from the WPL title. Mealy, you're a White Ferns star now, a Mumbai Indians star as well. Congratulations on the win. What was that moment like, and indeed the moments leading up to the victory?
Yeah, it was amazing, I think. You know, when you're a kid or in any sporting event, you dream of those moments and you dream of being out there when the winning runs are hit, and to be there with Nat, who is just a quality cricketer, but a quality person too, and see her be so successful and get us over the line in a close final, and probably one where it wasn't as free-flowing for her was amazing. And to be there to celebrate that with her and then the rest of the team running on, it's special. And, you know, as a kid, I kind of dreamed of playing in the IPL growing up watching the men's one. So to be involved in the first ever Women's Premier League is amazing, and it's been an amazing opportunity.
You were third most in terms of wickets and fourth in the list for the most valuable player. That probably means lots of fabulous moments and memories of the tournament. Which one would you think is your number one memory, on or off the field?
You obviously can't go past the final and winning that. I mean, getting a championship's pretty special. I think also, though, the first game was amazing. You know, you didn't really know what to expect, and we were the opening game, and it was a massive crowd, and we posted, I think, about 200, just over 200, which was pretty amazing. And those were two special moments, I guess, on the field. And then off the field, I think it was one of the best months of my life. It was I absolutely love India, and I love the culture, and everyone over there is so generous, meeting new people. Our team gelled together so well, and I guess at the end of the day, kind of when you go back, the main thing is the friendships you make from those tournaments, and so that's definitely a highlight.
The Mumbai Indians, the men's team, are the winningest in terms of the IPL. And here too, Mumbai Indians win the first ever edition of the WPL. A lot of people will ask, what is it that could perhaps be considered special? Did you feel anything different about the Mumbai Indians? Because after all, theoretically, all the teams were divided equally after the auction.
Getting over to India, it truly does feel like one family. That's how they treat you. So I think feeling like you belong in a place and feeling valued is so important. And that's definitely how I felt over there. And I think that's what helps you get the best out of people. And then I think, having Charlotte Edwards as our head coach, she's one of the best in the world when she played, and she's probably got, if not the best cricket brain in the world. She's got so much experience. So I think having her coach, but also putting together the team as well, and her knowledge she has was a massive advantage. And I've worked with her once before, and I think having her was massive to the team's success. And our support staff was amazing, every single one. We had Julan Goswami, Lydia Greenway. So we were very fortunate there. But I think it's definitely that one family, the belonging, feeling valued, and then the experience Charlotte Edwards has.
Just cutting to the chase, as it were, in terms of these mental health struggles that you have had, and you've become a very powerful advocate. How important is it for you to normalise those conversations you have about this?
It's the most important thing for me, to be able to normalise that conversation, and that's where the Out of the Rough and work with I Am Hope kind of came in, because when I was going through my struggles, and I've seen family and friends struggle since I was young, but when I was going through my stuff, it was the fact that I felt so alone, that there was no way out, and I'm the only person feeling like this, and I shouldn't be feeling like this, because from an outside perspective, I have an amazing life. I'm doing what I love. I have an amazing family. So I think to normalise it makes you feel, I guess, that you aren't alone, and it's others out there that feel this, because it's actually more common than what we think, and we all have mental health. So yeah, to normalise the conversation was so important to me, and it's something that I think I'd love to be an advocate for the rest of my life.
Well, you certainly sound very assured and confident. Can you say a little bit more about the initiative to offer help and support for people struggling with their mental health? Tell us a little about that and why it's so important for you to do that.
Yeah, Zach, the World Cup last year in New Zealand, and I knew that once it had finished, that I'd have a bit of a break, and I kind of felt like I was just kind of getting better. I remember before that tour being a bit worried about just being away again, and the struggles that I'd had, and I kind of came up with this idea, which again came from the idea of feeling alone and trying to normalise the conversation. But the idea came about for me is that there were more people speaking up about it in the media. You saw Ben Stokes and Sophie Devine have said things, but it's often people that are high profile. With mental health or mental illness, it's so individual, and people are affected in many different ways. So I wanted to get a range of different people to share their story, because I thought, the more diverse it is, it's more likely to touch more people. And, so I thought the range of people I got for that was amazing. You had some high profile people in New Zealand. One of my best mates, teenage boy perspective. And then my dad spoke from a parent's perspective and how you can help, because it's not only just the person going through something, it's when you love someone, how do you help? And that's going to have an effect on you because you care about that person. So that was kind of how the idea started. I wanted to reach more people and have, I guess, more people that I could help. And the idea was that if if this one video can save at least one person's life, there's 8 of them, and I'm saving 8 people's lives. And that was the most important thing for me. And since a young age, I'd been surrounded with mental health in my family, with members. And there was quite a few suicides growing up when I was at school. And that's probably what affected me in terms of my struggles. And it became this trauma response to those events. And because I'd seen all that happen, I just wanted it to change, because it's not, people don't understand it. And I had a conversation with my best mate, and he lost his brother to suicide. And he said to me, which was a great analogy, it's like a cancer. It's an illness. And if you catch it early enough, you have a chance of surviving. But if you don't catch it early enough, that's when it becomes hard. And that's the same with depression. You know, if you can talk about your emotions, you can help yourself before it reaches a crisis point. But if you don't have those resources, or don't know how to talk about it, or there's not people out there that it's not a conversation that feels like you can talk about, that's where things get heavy and you hold it all to yourself and it becomes too much.
You speak really powerfully about it, Amelia, and my family's been touched by suicide. I lost my cousin when he was just 33, similar age to me, psychotic depression, which wasn't caught early enough. Have you had some sort of direct feedback? Have you been reached out to by those who've seen your videos and, have felt that support?
I have, and that's been, you speak about medals and winning trophies, but the things I've had from this Out of the Rough Treading Water series has been the most rewarding thing ever, more than runs, wickets, whatever. So the response has been so positive. I've had people come up to me. I was in a restaurant once in Wellington, and a mum came over to me and spoke to me about her son who was struggling, and burst into tears and just said how much it had helped. So things like that are so powerful, and it's exactly why I wanted to do what I did. And, I'm not going to know every person that was touched by those videos, but I've definitely had people get in touch with me from all around the world. And it's amazing, because that's exactly why I did it.
Well, congratulations on both fronts then from us, Amelia, both the WPL title, but the bigger picture of the difference that you're making as well. It's great to speak to you. Enjoy your time at home and look forward to seeing you back on the field again very soon.
Cheers. Thanks so much for your time.
So Amelia Kerr, Mumbai Indians star, White Ferns star and advocate for mental health as well. Great to have her with us on Stumped. Now, as we told you, the top of the show, Stumped, has reached a significant milestone. This week's programme is that a drum roll? Could you hear that? It's our 400th show. So hence the balloons behind me as well, if you're watching on YouTube, just for a little bit of festive fun. We thought we'd take a trip down memory lane and find out exactly, or recall exactly, how Stumped started out 8 years and 399 episodes ago. Hello, I'm Alison Mitchell. Welcome to the first ever Stumped. And Jim, what makes cricket one of the great loves in your life?
It's a simple game, really. There's a bat and a ball, and there's a few fellas either side.
Well, there you go, Jim. It is a simple game. You're still loving it, though. Importantly, the show's evolved a little bit, hasn't it? I mean, fair to say, we like to bring you a healthy mix of stories, always still to inform and entertain. So we do want to say thank you, all our listeners, for being there every week from around the world. Indeed, whether you recently found us or you've been there from that very first show, which was January 2015. What are some of your favourite memories, guys?
Jim, you first. Come on, you've been there virtually all 400. Go for it.
The Indian Gymkhana, I mean, that was quite extraordinary. Just to be there and, have a bit of the old British tradition there in the lead up to it, having some cucumber sandwiches. It was very pleasant. Lovely old spot that we went to, and we had a live audience there, and we had a panel of 4 or 5 at least up there. So I remember that very, very, very well. And in fact, it's always the touring games that seem to rest in the brain. 2019, I'm trying to remember where we went. for that evening show? Was that somewhere
Manchester.
in London?
No, we were in Manchester. Curtly Ambrose joined us, didn't he?
Yeah.
Just
Yes.
before one of the World Cup games at Old Trafford.
Oh, there you go. Right. So that's
Sandy
a
approves.
little bit of a diversion.
Sandy the dog wants to join in with memories as well.
Oh, yes. He got cued by the budgies over there. But Manchester, that's where it was, because Charlotte was there. And it was a very entertaining evening. So definitely the away fixtures have been the highlight. And there's probably been so many others. But most of the time we're in our little box at home or close to home. And that extraordinary show we did with a guy from South Africa who was the cricket coach in Ukraine. Remember? Just as
Corbus Olivier.
in Kiev, as it were.
Yes.
That's amazing too. Yeah.
Charry, I mean, you joined the show a little bit later on the very first year, around about October, I think, wasn't it, for All India Radio? So do you remember those first few shows? And what are some of your faves?
Do I remember? Only too well. Well, here's a very quick story. I got a call from All India Radio. Now, I've done a lot of television in my life, 40 years of it, but not much radio. So I got a call from All India Radio to do a show called Stumped, which, of course, they presumed I'd heard. And I said, I'm terribly sorry, I haven't.
We'd only been going a few months, in fairness.
Well, in any case, would you like to do that? And I was I didn't quite know what I was in for, because I hadn't heard the show or heard much about it at all. And I probably said some sort of a half yes. Next thing I know, I get a call from Matt Davies, who we chatted just a shoulder back.
Editor.
He said, I believe you said yes. Congratulations and welcome. And I said, whoa, hang on. I don't know what I've signed up for. And as you mentioned, Jim, some of the other memories are associated with just how people in different parts of the world are using their love for the game to uplift society around them. Some of these Afghan stories have been remarkable, where they've gone around the world and somehow picked up on their love again and starting playing cricket. And you make such an important point, Alison, about listeners. And I've had people come in from various parts of the world where I've been and suddenly bring up, by the way, we love hearing Stumped. And I'm like, what? Really? Wow. So, wonderful memories with Stump. And I kind of fell into it back in October, whenever it was. But here we are, still swimming in this wonderful world of Stumped.
Well, you fell into it. We were very pleased to have caught you, Charry. I'll say that. I remember very clearly going into the BBC studios in Salford to record a pilot show. But that pilot obviously went well. We started that first series in January 2015 when I was in Australia for the World Cup that year. So that was a very short series. Then a second series was commissioned. Again, that was like a seasonal series, just a run of around 25 shows or something. But then it was being downloaded and listened to so much that we got commissioned then year round. So it is really down to all of our listeners, all of you out there, that we do this show every single week. Some of the biggest names, Shane Warne has actually been on more than once. He was on early in 2015 as well. Sachin Tendulkar, Viv Richards, the big women's game names, and Charlotte Edwards, Alyssa Healy, Jemmy Rodrigues. We've done specials, haven't we, on the spot fixing scandal in 2010, looking back on that. And we've had those deep stories, haven't we? I remember Dermot Reeve, the former England player, coming on and talking about his struggles with cocaine addiction. So for me, I think it's when Stumped has that human impact. They're the most powerful and touching stories. So for me, I think I remember particularly most recently giving a voice to the Afghanistan women who'd fled from the Taliban. But then do you remember Billy Cookson, the lad from England who followed his dream of playing club cricket out in Australia, but was almost killed in a car crash very soon after he arrived, got stuck in Australia, obviously in hospital, couldn't travel back to England for treatment, was in rehab for months away from home, having to learn to walk again even. And we visited in hospital and I got messages of support for him from Ricky Ponting, Michael Vaughan, and indeed from Shane Warne as well. So those kind of stories I do feel are particularly touching. So in summary, I'd say we've had powerful interviews with some of the biggest names in the game. We've had game changers and change makers on. We've celebrated with players and we've heard from those who've struggled with drink, drugs or gambling. We've featured cricket in as many places as possible, from refugee camps in Belgrade to the tropical tiny island of St. Helena. And you know what? We love doing it, so we hope that you continue to love it as well. Well, that is all we've got time for on this week's Stumped. So my thanks, as always, to Jim Maxwell and Charry Sharma, and of course to you all for listening. So let's do it again for a few more shows. See you soon. Bye-bye.
From the BBC World Service, in association with ABC and All India Radio, this is Stumped.